And hey, recording again. Welcome back to the Alexandrian Codex. I'm Alex. This is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. It's a long name, and I'm getting used to saying it. So we're done with DC. Let's head on down the coast. Excuse you? Oh, hop a train. No. No, never mind. I want to hop on this car when it comes out. Son of a bitch! Oh, do I just trigger this? Cute. Goddamn Ohio River. Having a hell of a time hitchhiking here. Do I hold this? Oh my god, I hold the Q button, as you would hold up your thumb. And the asshole didn't pick me up. Alright, yeah, let's just hop aboard this train. Now let's go to Charlotte. Hop off the boxcar and successfully sneak your way out of the train yard without catching any unwanted attention. Wait, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina? I way overshot. I wanted to go to Virginia. Also, look at how big Charlotte is. Oh, we're low on health. Hence the sad heart above our head. Let's hear a story. It's break time at this half-finished bridge. Workers gather around a young man who sits on a bucket like a king. Listen rapidly to his stories about ancient battles still raging on in Boston streets. Listen to the tale, you realize it's a story of the strange clamor on the streets of Boston, but heavily embellished. The young man on the bucket tells it masterfully, doing all the voices as if he's told it 1,000 times before. Well, what a story. It's nothing close to what actually happened, but this version's pretty good. I have an easy time remembering it. I'm gonna keep rights tucked in my soul.
The blistering sun has scared even birds into the shade. But a middle-aged woman and a young couple are still collecting scraps of cotton that the machinery missed. With a ragged voice, the older woman calls to you. "Got any water?"
Of course I do.
The three of them rush over to you, suddenly reanimated. They pass around your canteen. When you get it back, it's empty. The woman squeezes your hand and sighs with relief. "Sweetest thing I ever tasted," she tells you.
Move on. Would you say it tasted like wine?
He's small for his age. Boy of 13 or so, sitting on an upturned bucket by the side of a tiny wedge of farmland. The dog, as though by contrast, is massive, an enormous yellow-brown mutt. He's called Rover, the boy explains. "Paul says he can't come with us."
Where?
"West." You notice the Model A truck on the yard, piled high with furnishings and trunks and bags and knots of rope to tie it all together. And upon all that, too, yet more dust and grit. "Paul says it has to be better."
Paul is fucking wrong. The West got hit a lot worse than the East during the Great Depression.
With one toe tip, he scratches a parabola on the dead, dry ground. "Paul says we can't afford to feed Rover no more." You can't tell where the blonde of the dog's coat ends and the omnipresent dust begins. Same goes for the boy's hair.
Will you take him?
Yeah, sure.
Rover follows you eagerly after you feed him the tiniest sliver of jerky. But a few hours later, he snaps to attention, as though hearing some distant noise your ears can't catch. The last you see of him are the markings left by his dirty pelt on the leaves of the underbrush.
I don't know, doggo for us, I guess. That's okay. Health. A picnic blanket strewn with happy lunches sits abandoned. Wait, a pile of coats is an old woman. My grandchildren all wanted to go swimming, she complains, but no one wanted to stay with me. She feeds you well, good food in exchange for quiet company. Thanks, Granny. Thank you. I guess let's cut east. If I can even get my senses about me, which way's which? It's a dark compass on a dark background. Oh, I guess we're technically in South Carolina right now.
The cave is really a man-made hole breaching into an earthen mound. The man, khakis dirtied by kneeling on the rough earth, has assembled a macabre little pile of skulls to the side.
What are you doing, Justice?
Readying these for sale, friend.
What?
He wipes his hands on his pants.
This pile of skulls, clearly claimed from his enemies by an Indian chieftain, would be perfect for any cabinet of curiosities or sideshow attraction.
You fuck. Why dig up a grave? And also, that's not... Okay.
Why, these skulls belong to no one. They're just here, lying under this mound, waiting for an enterprising soul to make something of them. Isn't this what America's all about?
Lies. An appropriation of native bodies. Non-white bodies, yeah. I mean, I guess that's what America's all about, yeah.
Little sunlight reaches that deep in, but you can still see the skeletal remains. Their heads carelessly removed, laying neatly in their excavated resting places, each one lovingly surrounded by stone effigies, earthenware, and copper plates in the shape of winged warriors.
I'm threatening this man. Fuck you.
You pause and consider this small man, greedily arranging someone's remains as though they were a trinket for a mantelpiece.
No, I'm not gonna make up a ghost story. I'm just gonna tell him to fuck off.
You've half a mind to kick him onto his ass.
Yeah.
And having made that clear to him, he scurries off like the mole he is, much to your relief. It's the least you can do.
Yeah, I can't believe he's saying this to a skeleton. Even if I weren't a skeleton. Which I would still have a skeleton. It's just the right thing to do. Okay, it's worth walking slower. This music is so good. If the music changes regionally, and I think that it does, holy fuck, that's a nice touch game.
You rest in a field where a well-dressed stranger talks your ear off on all manner of subjects. The weather, fireflies in summer, how combine harvesters work. After a while, the mood shifts.
Heard my death bones this morning.
Death bones?
Death bones. Heard 'em rattle like Clank, clink, clank. More startling than wind chimes in a tornado.
He plucks dry grass and chews on a piece.
Ain't much time left now.
Yeah, I mean, auditory, this is very pleasing, but this game would be incredibly hard to navigate if you were blind, as I'm doing a lot of walking around in a three-dimensional space without any indication of what direction to go, given by the sounds. But damn, it's nice to listen to. You see me young.
That don't matter. I'm fine. Got my savior waiting at the pearly gates.
The man shifts uncomfortably.
Well, at least I do as of this afternoon, I hope. Nearly knocked the pastor's door down earlier. Sure was good to meet you.
The man pauses, rubs his chin in contemplation.
Don't let the bedbugs bite.
He walks off slow. After his silhouette becomes small in the horizon, but before he vanishes, you see him collapse to the ground.
Oh, fuck. Man who seemed alright with death. Need some cash? Man asks. Just moved in down the street and needs help carrying boxes from the curb into the house. Threw my back out this morning, he sighs. Lift with your legs. It's my tip. You take his advice and he pays you well. The song's a variation on the same song, but played in different styles with different instruments. It's fucking good. Get me some stories.
Electric
I need some
lamps
funny
stipple
fucking
the cotton
stories.
field before you with an orange light, moving like a group of lethargic fireflies. From the field, the voices of the workers reach you in a soulful, united song. You're gently lulled to sleep as the song floats over you. Hello, Lordy, pick a bale of cotton. Hello, Lordy, pick a bale a day. You're pulled out of your slumber by a woman's pained scream and a collection of shouts rising from the field.
Now focus on the noise. Don't force yourself back to sleep.
The woman's screams taper off, soon replaced by the raw cries of an infant. Applause briefly fills the night, eventually fading back into song.
Wow.
Oh, Lordy.
Wake up.
You wake up to the gentle crescendo of the worker's song, unsure if it ever ceased at all.
Damn. These people seem to be under the impression that North Carolina has a lot more farms than upstate New York does. While that may be true, I'm just, it's very noticeable how many more graphical assets there are here, or assets, I should say. Graphical assets is a bit unnecessary to say. More assets there are here than there were up north. The Northeast. Oh, that's what this is. Okay, so this region is the Northeast. Alright. And I just crossed back into Virginia. And the music
The lightning
back.
starts in
Okay,
the next
all
valley
right.
over. Then the wind picks up. The long grass hisses. And suddenly, it's raining so hard you can barely breathe without a hand over your mouth.
Search for shelter.
The lightning momentarily illuminates a farmhouse on the opposite hilltop. The only one for miles. Much closer, though, is a silhouette of a dilapidated barn.
Let's head for the house. Make for the barn, head for the house. Head for the house.
Pound
Can't get a
and
story from an
pound
empty
on the door
barn.
of the house, but you only get confused shouts from inside. Soon, you give up and head to the unlocked shed, where the empty wood bin makes a good enough bed.
Wow, alright. At least it's dry. Guess we should have gone for the barn.
In the morning, you're woken suddenly by the sound of clattering china. A tiny old woman bends over you, silently offering you coffee. She serves you half the pot before she lets you get up and leave for the morning.
Oh, it's nice of her. Never mind. Richmond, Virginia. Ooh, we're gonna meet someone new here. Hell yeah!
The woman finds you as you wander the streets. "Come with me, child," she says, looking you up and down. "We're going to church."
I mean, I'd really rather not, but okay.
You follow her to a simple clapboard building. There's no steeple, but a cross is painted on one side.
Enter.
Inside, you sit for what seems like years as the preacher drones on about the various virtues expected of his faith. Brevity is not among them, apparently.
Yep, Southern Baptist.
You pass a meadow where
What the
migrants
fuck is
have made
this?
a campsite. It's been trampled to pieces. A few families are fleeing, running as fast as they can back up to the roadside. An enormous bull stretches himself beside some of their squashed supplies.
Leave it be or take something for yourself. Oh, take something for yourself.
You inch close. As you're about to grab a bundle, the bull grunts and locks an eye with you. In a voice so like the sound of far-off thunder, you wonder if you've imagined it, he says, "Sorry."
Huh. Alright, move on. It's break time at this half-finished bridge. Workers are gathering around a young man who sits on a bucket like a king. They listen raptly to a story about the shootout, between the female bootleggers and the cops. Now it's a shootout, huh? Yeah. Tells it masterfully, doing all the voices. Yeah, what a story. Nothing close to what actually happened, but this version is pretty good. Little Ben by Leigh Alexander.
Sorry, friend, but I gotta ask you not to get no closer unless I can see your hands at all times.
Alright.
Too clean to be one of us. But you don't look like the company sent you neither.
Yeah.
Alright, come and share my fire spell. Don't linger. These hills is full of ears. Don't think just 'cause you can't see no one that you're safe. And I'll give you cornbread. Don't be so sure of me neither.
Fuck, I want cornbread. This game is killing me.
See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs.
I've had like 2.5 pizzas today. But all of this, like, East Coast food is just like, yeah, that sounds good. Fuck, that sounds good. Arrgh. Wait, what? He wants a thrilling story. Okay, cool. Ancient battles, creepy mill. Bull who terrorized travelers on the road. That's thrilling, right? Nah. The shootout between female bootleggers and the cops. That's thrilling.
You'd be popular at mealtime where I'm from. You'd keep a whole crew glued, I bet. Authority? Bosses? You ain't worth nothing to them. You're like a pickaxe or a coal cutter. Damn shovel. You break, you get replaced. It's almost like they're proud of that.
Yep,
Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Got any funny ones?
I do, my dude. So, Quinn, this kid, you'd like him.
You are a pretty funny one, you know that? Travel? Well, next time you take a train, take a peek on up at its beating heart. It's black breath. That's just what a mining man looks like inside him. coal dust, smoke, and fire. I need a laugh. No
I
good
need a
jokes?
laugh. I don't know if I have any jokes. Yeah, that burial mound isn't funny. None of those are funny. Nope. None of those are funny. Story to Thurston. This isn't funny, but it's, you know, not bad. She wanted to go to church, people praying. Story of Leatherman's Cave in New York City. Yeah, let's tell this. I don't think it's funny, but maybe it's funny that...
You got some
it
wit,
is funny.
stranger.
Alright.
Trust. Can I trust you? If I asked you how many widows were made when the number 9 fell in, would you know?
Oh. Many, by the way you say that.
What year it was when they walked Samuels and his boys down to Big Sandy and done them like criminals? You heard the word of Mother Jones? If you can't answer these, I can't say much. Got any funny stories? Must have a couple.
Fuck, man, you're running me dry. Why does everybody want funny stories? Yeah, Mason's Loss is not funny. Devil Leads, not funny. Elegant Woman, not funny. Strange Street, Lost in Time, not funny. Massive Thunderstorm, not funny, not funny. Strange Stones might be funny. Pigeon Keeper, not funny. That's cute. This is heartwarming, but not funny. Seemed alright with Death. Ah, fuck. Let's tell him about the Strange Stones. I don't think it's funny, but... Girl with the Weird Rocks.
Aw, that's all made up.
Well, hey, man, I'm out of funny stories.
Home? I always wanted a little place where I could watch the sky change color, watch the cook fire smoke, dance up among the pines.
In the
See anything
pines.
exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dogs.
We had this exact line of dialogue from you earlier, my man. And I have seen some interesting stuff. That involves ghosts, so maybe not so great. Well, hold on. Stories are probably more than just scary. This is probably exciting as well. Seemed alright with Death. Two brothers finding themselves is exciting. More sweet than exciting, but it is exciting, I imagine.
Come on. Don't try to cheer me up with that lying nonsense.
Son of a bitch.
Family. Well, they took my big brother out of school to send him down the mines. He weren't bigger than 10 years old, but 25 cents, right type of handshakes, off he went to work. He's so big in my memory, but he must have been such a small feller, come to think.
Fuck.
Morning. I gotta get going. Headed up that way.
Oh, hey.
Be specific, for my safety and yours. If you want to find me, then do it. Talk again about these things.
Oh, you're going up to Maryland. I will see you
All
very
ain't got
soon.
no country. No worker neither. Worker ain't Virginian, ain't Christian, white, colored, Irish, Polish, nothing. A worker is a worker. And we all gotta work. If you're one of them, if you think I sound red, you best come out and say so. Get it over with.
Shit, man, you sound red, but red's not wrong. There's Washington up there, so we're just gonna head up north, run up to him again in Maryland. Oh, right, this fucking river crossing. Wait, you mean to tell me there was a river crossing right next to the rail that I hopped on? No. I don't feel clever. Yep, there we go. While we're here, let's stop in at DC, see if we have anything new to do here. No. Oh, you can only work in one place once. Interesting. So if we don't need money, I should not be working. Maybe it resets after a certain period of time? I'm hopeful that it does. Otherwise, it gets me in a bit of a conundrum. I'm gonna run over here. No. Over to Philadelphia and get that new story. Is that not a new story? Yeah, it is. The car will just go through. So, alright, new story. Thunderbird people who fly when they fall from heights. Yeah. To the effusive praise. Move on. So, Thunderbird has gotten better. It's not funny. And hey, if we fail this... If he's not too happy with it, well, that's okay. Because it won't count against us. It just won't help us. Little Ben, by Way Alexander, Chapter 2.
I don't know you from anyone. But maybe in the end that don't matter so much, so long as we're after the same things. Little firelight, little morsel, a minute or two of company. Well, I ain't got much, and I sure ain't got more than that. I'll share what I have. You'll do the same for a stranger one day by and by. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just
seen dogs. No kidding. How about the bull who terrorized travelers on the road? Is that exciting for you? Kind of exciting, kind of scary, but kind of exciting.
Back. There was a time when me and Big Ben could just enjoy exciting stories like this one. Innocent. Authority means being afraid, even though you know you're not the one in the wrong. And you can't show your fear, because you got all the others counting on you, looking to you about what to do. I had no time to get frightened, not even when they were dragging Union men and strangers alike out to the hills to get shot on suspicion of being Reds. You just had to tell the workers again and again how it was going to go right for them in the end, even though sometimes I wasn't so sure myself.
Fuck.
Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Got any funny ones?
I don't, my dude. I perpetually do not have funny stories. Ancient battles, seagulls. How about this dude that seemed alright with death? I don't think it's funny, but, well, maybe I'll get a better version of the story.
Don't try to cheer me up with that lying nonsense.
God damn it.
The future? With all due respect, friend, I find this prognosticating a little ungodly. Just a little. All I can say is I hope whoever's up there sees fit to make it turn out so this'll all have been for something. It has to turn out.
It's not the way the world works, man.
That's the only point in keeping on. And that's true no matter what you're on this earth for, ain't it?
Nah, sometimes suffering is just suffering. It doesn't have to build up to something. That's a narrative constructed to give us motivation to move forward, but it's not true.
I need a laugh.
I need a laugh. Well, how about this cute story? Not gonna make you laugh, but it's cute, so it's not the opposite of what you're asking for.
Well, this seems like wishful thinking to me. Why ask me about love? I had a chance once. I think it's past. It's just the way it went. Me, I can run to the hills till my ribs show, but I wasn't gonna do that to... You can't do that to a wife.
Huh.
Got any funny stories? Must have a couple.
I don't, though, unfortunately. I'll tell you about the storm caught me outside. I got coffee in the morning. Not really funny. People in the South will not have funny stories.
Well,
the South is full of
Just seems like wishful
sad
thinking to
fucking
me.
stories. There's some funny ones, I'm sure.
This country, pretty here. How many human bodies you think it's built on?
Millions.
I'm just being figurative. Mostly.
Yeah, it's still millions.
I need a laugh.
I need a laugh. I don't have a laugh. Mason's loss. It's dark past who stained the souls of her clients. Oh, hey, this woman wanted to go to church. Isn't that funny?
Come on. Don't try
God
to cheer
damn it.
me up
Yeah, I
with that
should not
lump
have
of
talked
faith.
to him.
Well, sure. We call it God-fearing. But you ever been down a coal mine, friend?
Nope.
No room for fear to squeeze in then.
Oof.
Back then, every day I'd get up with the quiet black dawn, and by way of prayer, I'd say something like, "Not gonna be my day," and that'd be it. It's not like you ever forget to be careful, for all the good it does. But then every day, you and the others come back up out the mine, you see the stars, the night sky comes into your lungs, all alive like. At those times, you feel like, well, you know, that's about it for me. Here comes the dawn. Headed out this way.
You're not
Can't say
moving.
where specifically.
Can't
I
say where
again, My
specifically.
journey ain't
Just-
so long as the crow flies, but it's winding. Detours.
I need a
dodging
laugh.
dogs. See, I don't have to run from you, though. We run into one another out that way. Maybe we'll share a little fire again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I need to find some funny stories before I come back to him, or Quinn, or anyone else we've been talking to. So, I don't think there's anything else in Maryland, but West Virginia we haven't touched at all. So let's run along this road, sweep through Virginia, do West Virginia, sweep out the rest of Virginia, do North Carolina in earnest, do South Carolina, and down into Georgia, and by God, maybe we'll get some funny stories. I'm gonna follow the river here, because I saw some buildings along the Ohio here. And it may turn out that they're just improvements to what we already have, but shit, that's still worth it.
A bus roars up on the road behind you
What the hell?
and slows to a crawl at your side. Inside, you can barely see people moving, dancing, swaying. Strings of lights, strange smoke.
Want a ride?
The driver calls. Before you can open your mouth, a huge hairy hand, like an animal's paw, lands heavy on her shoulder. Not this one, a voice growls, so deep it vibrates your ribcage.
It's a VW.
The driver shrugs, leaves you in a cloud of perfumed exhaust.
Okay, it's a VW. That actually dates this better, because the Volkswagen, the people's wagon, the people's car, was not a thing until, Volkswagen, just give me the Wikipedia page. Come on. Was founded in 1937 in Berlin as it was founded by, well, indirectly by an order from Hitler to create a car for the German worker. So this being a VW bus puts this between 37 and 38, 39, 40. So this is after the this is during the Spanish Civil War, presumably. I'm sure at some point the game will just tell me what year it is, but I'm having fun reverse engineering it, or sussing it out from the details. Shit, who's camping here? I probably don't have anything new for you. Let's go to Pittsburgh first. This man can barely wait to get through the pleasantries before asking if you've heard the story. 110% true, he says. Heard it from my nephew, and it happened to someone he knows well. Well, sure. Man launches into its telling. It's polished. He's obviously done this many times before. He tells you a story of brothers who sought each other for another 50 years, and their spirits still search today. You recognize the bones of it from your experience of the two brothers who wandered seeking one another for 50 years. It's been embellished in the interim, though. Afterwards, you thank the man, move onward. You have to remember it. Even if it's not quite what happened, it's a good story. So now it's not just an okay story, it's a good story. Alright, so there's 3 phases. Story, good story, or okay story, great story. Maybe more than that. Who's at this camp? Who dis? Mason. Oh, fuck. Hey, buddy.
Ma and Pa wanted me and Paul on the front lines. They wanted someone to be proud of, and I did as they asked.
Yep, that's what a lot of people wanted from the First World War.
Then the government wanted me to take an IOU, and I did. When there were no more jobs, I, along with thousands of others like me, went and asked Hoover to pay out.
Oh shit, you were, yeah.
General MacArthur was so scared of us, he brought in goddamn tanks to keep us from tearing apart DC.
Yeah.
So anyway, tell me a funny story? You seem like you know a few good ones.
During the Depression, if you're not aware, former veterans of the First World War, they were paid in bonds, I think, effectively, like he's saying IOUs, that they would get paid later on. But during the Depression, these payments faltered or stopped coming altogether, and so many veterans wanted work. They were promised work once they got home. They fought for their country, they defended their country in the greatest war that the world had ever known up to that point, at least as far as the Western world was concerned, so they came back kind of pissed off that there was no work after the beginning of the Great Depression. So a bunch of veterans, and I mean thousands and thousands and thousands, millions? No, just thousands, marched on DC, trying to get Herbert Hoover's attention. Hoover was president until 32? 33? Shit. Somewhere around that. FDR was reelected in 36, so yeah, 32. So this is in the early 30s, late 20s. And General MacArthur basically shut down the thing with tanks and active army members because they were afraid, because these are trained veterans who had just finished fighting in a war not 20 years earlier. If things had gotten out of hand, they didn't have the standing army to put down the potential riot or uprising that would come from it. So you want a funny story. Well, I'm afraid I do not have a funny story, so maybe I should just exit. Yeah, I'm just gonna exit. Yeah, sorry man.
Where are you headed? Back to the road? Hope you're... No, I should be leaving soon too.
Yep.
I wish there was a road I could take home. Home as I knew it. To my sister Jessie and all of them before the war. But there ain't. It's something I think the road is helping me to understand.
I'm not gonna keep throwing stories at them unless it's the right stories, because you can't tell them the same story twice, even if you get it back improved. So I think I should be a bit more scrupulous about that in the future. Let's head south. It's a little weird that we fade to black instead of, like, instantly teleporting, but whatever. Not gonna nitpick the design. Now the Appalachian Mountains are pretty short compared to how big they actually are. Anything in here? Nope. Doesn't look like it. Let's... Charleston. We've been to Charleston. No, we haven't. Alright, let's go to Charleston. I love that they made walking into a minigame. Which seems like weird feedback, unsure, but it helps a lot. These men lean against the wall of the hardware store, smoking and chatting. They wave you over. Heard this one before? Launch into a group recitation of the legendary Gwen Mischet, the richest and most ruthless bootlegger ever. Interrupting one another in their excitement to tell. Wait a second, you recognize the story. It's a story about the shootout between the female bootleggers and the cops. Someone added to it in the meantime, though. What do you think? Think it really happened? No way. One of the men tisks and shakes his head. It's possible to be too skeptical, you know. He laughs.
Here's a derelict school building.
Jesus Christ, this
Shutters
guy.
nailed shut. Wind-drifted dunes piled against the walls. Broken desks lined up in the basketball court. While you rest on the front porch, the door's open, and someone gives a startled yelp.
Take a look
He's
inside.
an older man, tidy and unshaven, carrying a toolbox in one hand and brandishing a broom in the other. "Don't squat here," he growls. "We're not abandoned."
I'm standing my ground.
He gives you a hard look, but relents and joins you in the shade. "I used to teach here," he says, staring off across the baseball diamond. "Now they just pay me to keep the roof up."
Huh.
Two brothers stroll up to you in the street, wearing identical scowls and identical steel-toed boots. One spits in front of you. "Don't stay in town overnight," the other says. "No vagrants after dark."
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
You hide in an alley, but around midnight you're woken by bright lights and a rain of boots. As they hurl you back onto the road, you catch two familiar faces in the crowd.
Oh, I should have seen that
This
coming.
time, smiling.
Yep, move on. Testament to the cruelty of man. Ah, Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. Kentucky. I was kind of hoping we'd run into something here, but no, it looks like we're almost in Tennessee. You're the only 10 I see. So, we had some stuff out here, but there must be something in this expanse between this edge of Virginia and, you know, Virginia proper. So let's run back through here. If we don't see anything, we'll head back down to South Carolina, but I'm not ready to run into Tennessee yet.
I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground, 'cause when that ferryman comes for
Thought I was gonna sneeze, but no.
I won't leave much to find that can be found.
It does transition with states. Okay, cool. I kind of wish that the whistling varied from state to state.
On the bare bones of the earth, I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground.
Yeah, I'm not seeing much.
When that ferryman
Charlotte.
comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found. Well, I'm gonna have
Farmers loitering besides a couple crates of berries. Hey, we've heard this one before. Absolutely, tell me a story. Tells you about the house that only appears when thunder strikes. It takes a couple of minutes. That is such a cool version of that story. Yeah. Bullshit, you're a good joker. I'll give you that.
someone else to dig my hole.
Yep, and straight south into South Carolina. The top complaint I imagine I'll get from this on YouTube is my insistence of walking around and whistling instead of hitchhiking. This does detract from the music a little bit. No, just straight into Georgia? Alright, well I'm gonna stop in here and then cut straight east, see if I'm missing something in South Carolina, because that went fast.
Excusez-moi.
Beckoning you over, the woman shows you a letter, beautifully typeset on thick vellum. You're struck by the scent of a fancy department store? She points on the parchment to the address.
This address, you know?
Her accent is very thick.
Take a closer look.
You are dismayed to read the first paragraph. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet, and the address under the monogram in the letterhead. 12345 Road Street, Anytown, USA. The woman blinks, hopefully, leaning close over your shoulder.
Yes? You know this place?
She asks. Poor woman. She's been tricked.
Yeah, tell her the truth. Let her down easy.
This place doesn't exist, you try to explain as loud and slowly as possible.
Of course you exist.
The woman snorts, thumping a fist to her chest. You struggle to make yourself understood, but the poor woman whisks the letter away and stomps down the street. Ah well, c'est la vie.
I got a fire in me, don't come from up above. Yeah, I got debts to pay, but not the ones you're thinking of. And all of that fame and fortune bought me a hell of a lot to lose. Alright, but you ain't gonna hear me crying, 'cause I got that soul sucker blues.
Pass over into Georgia. The blues. Love it.
Well, I met a man downtown. Smile as white as death. Eyes like golden dice.
Give me a better version of a story. The Leatherman. The ghost whose haunts Connecticut. Alright, well, now he is a ghost for real this time.
You ain't gonna want for nothing when you get that soul.
His smile lights up the room, or rather the cab of the locomotive. Folks gather round as he holds the pull cord. He's a showman through and through.
You'll want to cover your ears now for this next part.
Cover my ears, I guess.
Sure doesn't help much. Engineer pulls that chain and the whistle blasts inside your skull. He just smiles through it all. Man must be half deaf.
Darnation.
A round of applause erupts from the small crowd. He passes out bubble gum to the shell-shocked kids, half of them in awe, half in tears.
Well, at least he has bubblegum, eh? Get truffled
Remember
on.
now who gets you there on the advertised. Casey Jones.
Casey
Everyone's all talk as they head back to their seats. That engineer sure is handsome. Gosh, and that whistle sounded just like a whippoorwill, didn't it? Ain't this the way to travel?
Jones. Moving on.
No fence, gate, or sign marks the entrance to the cemetery. Just a moment ago, you weren't surrounded by graves, and now you are. How long have you been stepping on dead folks, fully unaware?
Probably a long time.
A wood board, bleached white. Unknown. The word was painted on black by a steady hand, each letter signed with a flourish. Whoever made this memorial had more compassion than money.
Look around.
The other graves are the same. Unknown. 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 Handwritten. Nondescript. You walk for a while, reading every marker in sight, and not once do you find a name.
Huh. Weird.
Won't heed temptation. I just walk on by. Won't heed temptation. I just walk on by. Yeah, the devil gon' lay his snare for me, but its power I will deny. Won't heed temptation. walk on by.
I don't love how I can see
Oh, yeah.
the outline in the water, but God, the music is so good. Jimmy, by Austin Walker.
Evening there. You looking for a sermon or just a chat?
Please God, not a sermon.
Don't really matter, frankly. First thing I ever learned behind the pulpit is that every homily is just a conversation.
Yeah, it's not a bad lesson.
Ain't as one-sided as you might think either. Preachers ain't shepherds, they're cowboys. They gotta run with the flock, keep them directed without fencing them in. So how about you take a seat and guide us somewhere? Anyway, why don't you tell me a scary story? You must have heard some good ones.
The voice acting's really good, but the quality of the mics used on different voice or by the different voice actors varies quite a bit. Some are very, very good. Some like this, it could use a little touch up. It's still very good. So spooky? Oh man, you want scary? Fuck yeah, I am your dude. Why not about this elegant woman? It's not that scary, but I want a better version of the story.
Tearjerkers need a little
It's
more
sad.
truth in them, I think.
Fuck!
Sadness? No. Preacher ain't allowed to be sad, except for a certain sort of sadness. You understand?
Sorrowful.
We have to be salve. We have to lift up the community, challenge injustice.
Actually, yeah.
Folks like me can't be sad for ourselves when it's the congregation that really hurts.
This is kind of Christian socialism I'm behind.
Hey, do you have any spooky campfire tales?
Yeah. For real this time, though. Yeah, you want spooked? I will give you a real scare, my dude. Massive thunderstorm? Nah, not that scary. Nah, nothing scary about that. These are all cute. Nah. Man who seemed alright with death. Old janitor. Ancient battles. Creepy mill around New York City. It's not that creepy, but it's pretty creepy.
Oh, you could rattle a congregation's bones, I bet. The past? Huh. My earliest memories of my mother and father teasing each other, laughing about something I didn't quite understand. Putting on voices, playing games. This was back before she passed.
Oh.
You know any story that brings a person hope? Something I can tell to my congregation?
I do. No, their spirits still search today. That's not hopeful. It used to be hopeful, but it's not anymore. The goat is not hopeful. Oh, you're saying scary. Okay, because the lag's that bad. The goat is not hopeful. Yeah, about the seagulls and the fishermen. That was hope.
Are you sure you ain't the preacher here? That was a good one.
Damn
You ever
straight.
notice how different folk think about the future in entirely different ways? Talk to a man up in Harlem, hat man, sells hats, and he's talking about quarters and fiscal years. Talk to one of them boys at the Shaw School, they start yapping about automation and aeroplanes. But when I talk to my auntie down in Macon, she can't see past her next payday.
Shit.
Some folks don't have the privilege of the future.
Fuck.
Lately, my journey's been pretty ordinary, just walking church to church. What about you? Been on any adventures?
Adventure, huh? Yeah, tell me about Casey Jones, the theatrical railroader near Savannah. I want more of Casey's story.
I swear I ain't heard a story good as that in a long time.
Hell yeah.
Travel? Oh, I travel. Moving's in my blood. Pops traveled all over to wrestle. And even after I stepped out on my own, I kept moving.
Daddy was a wrestler?
I've been everywhere. Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles. Paris. I even been to Paris.
Paris.
I've been everywhere. Chicago, New York,
Oh.
Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles. Paris. I even been to Paris.
Looks like you had this text file load the previous audio file because you copy and pasted it without changing the actual file name. That's an understandable mistake.
You must have seen some pretty wild stuff on the road. What's the most exciting thing you've seen?
Most exciting, huh? Little bit of struggle? Nah. Rising workers movement in New York. That's fucking exciting.
I'm not sure that one moves me.
Well, then you need to get radicalized, my man.
Freedom? I have it now. I hear it a lot. You give the best sermons I ever heard, Brother Jimmy. Why don't you become a pastor and start your own church?
I assumed by the cross that you were a pastor, but seeing as you aren't as a church, kind of makes sense.
Well, I like freedom. Jesus didn't preach to the Canaanites alone, after all.
Yes, this is true. This is why the echo chambers of Christianity in the United States are so bad.
So no church or temple or praise house for me. My congregation is America itself.
Respectable.
Well, I gotta get moving on. I have a sermon to give in the morning, and the church is a long night of walking that way.
Yeah, you're really not going that far. I'll find you again, my dude.
Walk like you're blessed, child. Cause even if you ain't, that's the only way you'll find your holy self.
That's really good advice. Or at least really uplifting advice. Good or not, I like Jimmy. Now we got 10 minutes left of this hour, huh? This is going fast. Which are probably indicative of me having fun. What's this? Alex isn't complaining about game mechanics all the time? Yeah, right. Kindly old man sharing a shade under the bridge with you tells you a few rambling stories, some true seeming, some conspicuously less so. All true, he assures you. There's history in this place, going all the way back to Indian times. Strange stuff happens around here. It can't all be true. It sure is. He scoffs, and then as if to prove himself right, he launches into a story about this mysterious woman preaching the gospel, and all we would listen. And this one, you know, it's a story of the mysterious woman who wanted you to go to church, but wilder and stranger than you remember. See then? The old man laughs. So I ain't pulling your leg. It's all true.
We gonna tear it down.
Yeah, alright, there we get hell. Field hands are sitting down to share a meal on a long table. One of them sees you loitering near the bar. Winking, he waves you over. Just nod and smile, he says, passes you a steaming plate. Think you're a day laborer. Nobody questions you. The food was delicious. Oh god, the break in audio, I'm like panicking, like, no, did it break?
She told you,
What?
beckoning from the steps of a great dark mansion. And just like that, you found yourself sitting with strangers around a velvet-draped table.
What?
Her voice is reedy and high, modulated by the tight collar of her Victorian dress.
Is it
Join
this
hands,
person?
everyone.
Because either it's a weird lip or it looks like a mustache. So is it her or her? These two read very much feminine. You read potentially feminine if it weren't for the mustache. Hold hands.
Your host keeps her eyes closed as she beseeches the spirits of the dead. But everyone else around the table lets one lingering, awkward glance bounce around between them. You sense they're just about done humoring her when it happens. A deep, nasty thump beneath the table.
What? Hold tight.
The whole table starts to shake, threatening to lift right off the ground. And then, the staid candle flames start flickering like mad, casting ghastly shadows on the walls. And then, a viciously cold wind cuts through the parlor like sharpened ice.
Well, keep holding, right? Gotta see where this
The damn
goes.
candles are dancing in midair around you now, singeing a hair here and there off the coiffed heads of these well-heeled guests. You notice your host across the table has her eyes open wider than they should go.
Oh boy.
A rivulet of blood dripping from her nose.
Nah, we keep holding. Wheel Fortune.
When you come to your senses, sunrise has begun to creep in. The parlor is empty but for you and the woman in the old-fashioned dress, who slumped dejectedly over the table.
He didn't show up. All that sound and fury, and no sign of his spirit.
Move on. So I'm gonna do these two, then probably wrap up the episode. We'll start our next episode. Oh god, look at this frame rate. What? Why was that one spot really bad? Okay, we're gonna wrap up these two, then wrap up the episode before talking to Jimmy again. Hey, policeman, what story gets improved? Wait a second. 2 lighthouse keepers. How did the story grow?
A family of 9 invites you into their home for a meal. Hogs roam free in the yard. They wallow in shady patches of cool mud, not paying any mind as you pass.
Let's eat with the
During
family.
supper, the hard wind puts an awful burden on the walls. The glass dishes rumble on the table, but the mother seems calm.
Can't butcher a hog in these parts without me, Ma, hollering for pig's feet.
Ghosts?
The mother raises up her shoulders into a stern posture.
I teach my children to only fear the Lord. We don't have haints, just me, Ma.
I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman...
Alright, yeah. Okay, so that's gonna wrap up this hour. I'm gonna stream for another hour. But if you're watching on YouTube, this is it for today. Make sure to stop by again tomorrow. Until then, make sure to comment, share, like, subscribe, all that silly shenanigans. Till then, toodaloo, take care. Bye.